Hello, welcome to Books of the Month. I'm your host, Dr. Larry Carnes. We're so excited to have you with us today. And we have the privilege of having a very special guest with us, Mr. Michael Snow. And he has this powerful book, Mindful Philosophy. So powerful as I looked in it. Mr. Snow, how are you today?
Well, I'm very good, Dr. Carnes. Thank you. Absolutely fine. I'm just feeling the Christmas spirit and all is well. Thank you.
Well, I tell you, we're so honored to have you with us. Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about yourself before we get into this powerful book?
That's a good idea. Thank you. Well, yes, good evening, everybody, or good day. My name is Michael Snow. I'm an author. I'm interested in anything to do with human spirituality, which means meditation, inner stillness, peace, joy, quiet, well-being, anything you like. I retired from working and I thought, well, I've got something to say, so I'm going to say it. So I sat down and I opened my computer and it wrote itself. This book wrote itself. And it's really a very simple guide as to where unity can be found, not just in the Christian tradition, but in all the great world spiritual traditions, and how that links in with what is today called mindfulness. There's only one thing of great importance I can say at this moment, and that is if you want to be happy, you've got to be present. You can't be happy unless you're present. And it's as simple as that.
That's a very powerful statement. If you want to be happy, you must be present. I call it being present to the moment.
Yes.
And in being present to the moment, you must be engaged. Now, you spoke about some things. It's interesting as I was looking at your book. The last book that I wrote is called The Power of Transformation, Internal Restructuring for Renewed Empowerment. And I deal with the mind and the spirit of the mind. What I found fascinating as I was looking at your book, you talked about non-dual philosophy.
Yes.
Unpack that for us, non-dual philosophy. You said that this book is a life-affirming, positive account of how spiritual evolution is the domain of all of us. Talk to us about that.
Dr. Carnes, there is a spiritual essence in you, and there is a spiritual essence in me, and there is a spiritual essence in everybody listening to this program. Now, it isn't a different spiritual essence. It unites us all. It all comes from the same source. Now, what you call that source is up for debate. It doesn't matter what you call it. But the fact is that we can prove this to ourselves quite easily by simply coming out of all the things that we're not. Now, here's a thought for you. Anything you can see, you can't be. Anything you can observe, you can't be. You are that which observes them. So if you think, well, here's a body and it's got a head and a toe and a leg and a tummy and everything else, and there's a mind and the mind thinks and you can watch the thoughts, you can feel emotions coming up. You don't have to go with the emotions. So who is it that's not going with the emotions, and who is it that can think the thoughts? Well, it's that is the essence, and that's universal. And the other thing is that its nature is full of joy, and it's full of love, and it's full of consciousness, and it's never not there. And all we've got to do is get out of the way so that it can shine. I don't know whether that helps or not.
You said something here that is so apropos. I'm hearing sensory perception, our brain,
Yeah.
versus our minds and the spirit of our minds. When I listen to you, it reminds me so much of what I say, because I go from a philosophy, the mind is spirit, but the brain is flesh. And if we allow the brain, that which we've been socialized and modified in, to have precedence over the spirit of the mind, then we never really tap into the totality of who we were created to be. Does that make sense?
Uh, Partially. Certainly, I agree that the brain is flesh, the mind is not flesh. But you can go one step back even from the mind, because something can observe the thoughts. And who or what is that something? That something can observe what's going on in the mind. So you've got the mind, then the spirit. I mean, in the Christian tradition,
Yeah,
you have both soul and spirit. They're not the same thing.
absolutely. I
So
agree.
I would say that the mind, it goes into the soul dynamic, and the spirit doesn't do anything. It just observes. It's a simple witness. The words "I am." So when it says "I am that I am," it's simply a statement of the obvious truth that there is just existence, and we all know that's the case when we're fully present.
That is so powerful. Let's segue to this, Mr. Snow, because this is powerful. We are created in the image and likeness of the Creator, and we
Yeah.
know that He is spirit. Genesis
Yeah.
1:26.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we are created as spirits.
Yes.
And so the true essence of who we are is spirit.
Yes.
And then when we go over to, I read here, it says, be not conformed, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yes.
And then it tells us that the mind has a spirit also. I saw you mention, dual philosophy. And I look from the perspective of the mind, the subconscious mind, and then our subconscious spirit, if you will, and how it can be impregnated. Thoughts. You mentioned thoughts. How we can control our thinking. When we control our thinking, we control our thoughts, we control our emotions. Tap into that and give us some more of the wisdom and
Right.
the insight that you have.
Well, non-dual philosophy is an endeavor to see that which unites human beings. It gets you away from the things that divide us. And in today's world, we're so full of divisions of left, right, up, down, short, tall, black, white, anything you like. These are not helpful. It gets us away from the duality. The unity is a spiritual essence that when you're, Dr. Carnes, when you're very quiet, when you're very still, you're very peaceful, you don't know any limit to that. You can't put a box around it. You can't go to the shop and buy a tin of it. It's a limitless feeling of peace and well-being. And it
Mhm.
doesn't matter what tradition you come from. Now, from that point, you can witness all of creation. And it starts with the mental world, the mental subtle world, the mind. And it includes the thinking mind, the emotional mind, the discursive mind, all these things. And it goes on to include the physical world.
Yes.
You, in truth, are none of these things. They're all tools for your use, right? But you can sidestep them, you can witness them, and that's a great freedom to know that you can just, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling low, you're feeling anger. If you practice this, you can just see it for what it is, and you don't have to be tsunamied over by them. You retain the steadiness, you retain the inner stillness.
That is so powerful. I concur with you 100%. Control your thinking, control your thoughts, control your emotions. Don't allow your emotions to control you.
Yes.
That is so powerful. And we need to master that. You spoke of unity, you speak
Yeah.
of oneness, and I just believe in that. That is so powerful. What would be some keys, if you would, that you would share with our audience as they can begin to move toward being able to control their world, the world that we live in? I think this, Mr. Snow, the world has been so fixated on behavior modification
Yeah.
that we haven't tapped into the essence of internal spiritual transformation.
The way to go, I may suggest, is simply to sit in a chair, shut your eyes, and just be. Now,
Mm,
practice witnessing what comes up. The first thing that'll happen is thoughts will come up. Now, they're not to be worried about. If a thought comes up, just witness the fact that there is a thought and return to the stillness. And keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And you will find that you will just simply witness what's happening. Now, the body breathes. It breathes in and it breathes out. Now, just watch that breathing. And when the in-breath becomes the out-breath, there is a still point. There's a still point. Now, everybody listening to this program can now, at this very moment, be still. If I just stop talking like now, there is nothing but peace. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfect. And that is the essence. And we can all come to that realization. It doesn't matter what tradition you come from. It's our birthright to realize this essence because it's full of love. There's nothing wrong. It's perfect.
That is so powerful. You know, one of the things I do as a transformational strategist and life coach, I teach the clients, don't be afraid of the silence.
Yeah.
Because you said there's peace in the silence.
Yeah.
That is so powerful. You know, you talked about thoughts. I've looked, you know, it's said that the human will have up to 60, 70,000 thoughts a day. And as those thoughts come, many of them are repetitive, but we choose which thoughts we give attention to.
Yes.
Because of course, we don't give attention to all of those thoughts. This is so powerful, what you're sharing with us. Please, I want you to take the time now to give our viewing audience the information that they need to know how to get in touch with you, to know how to get access to your powerful book. Please share that with our viewing audience.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, the website is michaeljsnow.com. And the book is just being published through Great Writers Media, which is a US promotional agency. You can Google mindful philosophy, and it'll come up on Amazon and all the big shops. It's very much around and ready to go. So if you just remember Michael J. Snow and put that into your computer, you'll come up with the details of the book and then and my website and why I did it, what I do it for, and what inspires me to have a conversation with your good self.
You know, it's so empowering and so informational. And I think that your book is a tool that will help people tap into the essence of their I amness.
That is the point. Thank you. Yes, that is exactly the whole point. Come out of everything you're not, and then you can't help but be what you are. And what you are is love and peace and joy and consciousness. And it's not trying to be sentimental. It is a statement of truth. And we can all realize that. There's no ego involved. It's just coming into your true spiritual essence. And everything else will follow.
Yes, that is so powerful. I make the statement often. I say when we become aware of whose we are, we become aware of who we are.
Yes, that's a neat way of putting it.
and then we tap into the true essence of who we are. I tell you, it has been so powerful. If there would be, we have about 30 seconds left. If there would be a few keys, a few nuggets that you would like to share, what would be those things?
I'll tell you what they'd be. Have the best possible Christmas. Worry not about COVID. Worry not about Mr. Biden or anybody else. Don't worry. Be in the present moment. Enjoy the atmosphere. Next time you walk down a street, look at everything you see. Look at the pavement. Look at the sky. Look at the shops. Look at the cars. Listen to the people. Be part of life and enjoy it to the full.
Wow, that is so powerful. Mr. Snow, we so appreciate you being our guest. You've dropped some powerful nuggets, some life enhancing and life enforcing things that we can apply. Listen, I'm Dr. Larry Carnes. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. And we are so appreciative that you're joining us for Books of the Month. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with another guest.
Thank you very much, Dr. Carnes.
Thank you.